Everyone's got the new link now. Okay, here we go. Woo! Technology sometimes. Okay, you ready, Lauren? Mm-hmm. Sorry, guys. The last stream got corrupted, and I think I might have messed it up. But I hope that you found this new link. If not, I'm going to record it and save it. So thank you so much for your patience in getting the technology to be on our side. But we're going to start seated. So you can go ahead and come into a comfortable seat and maybe just close the eyes and just relax through the upper body so you can release your hands and just rest them over your legs. And for a moment, check in and notice if you're holding tension unconsciously in any part of your body. So just watching the shoulders, the face, noticing the brows and the forehead. Relaxing these areas if you find that they're tense, if they're tight. And starting now to draw your attention to your breath. And without changing your breath, just drawing awareness to where the breath is moving, how the breath is moving in your body. If you have a really shallow breath this evening, or if the breath is nice and deep. Now starting to become a little bit more intentional with your breathing, but really deepening your breath, filling the whole chest cavity up with breath. Feeling your inhalation reach all the way down into the depths of the belly, even down into the pelvic floor. And then fully exhaling, pressing the breath out of the body through the nose. And maybe the breath is just active enough that you can start to hear a little bit of sound, almost like a whisper as you breathe. So just finding that light ujjayi breath, like you're fogging up a window. And just sitting for a few more moments with this deep ujjayi breathing. Watching the in-breath move into the lungs and into the belly. And the out-breath move everything out to empty. Let's go ahead and just return back to a normal breath. And we'll bring our hands together in front of the heart space in that Manjali Mudra. And just take this next moment to set your intention for your practice this evening. And this can be anything from paying closer attention to your breath, to find more relaxation in your evening. But whatever this intention is for you, let it be clear in your minds. Let it be something that you can focus on and return back to as we move through our practice. And once you have your intention set, you can gently release the hands down over the knees and slowly start to open the eyes. And just giving the eyes a moment to adjust to the light in the room that you're in. Again, welcome. Thank you so much for being here this evening. We're going to start with some breath and movement. So with our arms, inhaling, taking them up overhead. And just getting a nice long stretch, and then exhaling, the hands are going to come back down to heart center. So starting to bring together our breath and our movement, and just continue breathing and stretching. And you can take it as fast or as slow as you want. But inhaling, working on that expansive stretch through the arms, through the torso. And exhaling, we're grounding everything back down to center. And let's just continue this for the next little bit. Just taking nice, deep, full breaths. Imagine that you're creating a container with your arms, creating that space on your mat, that space where you can really connect into your practice. We'll do it one more time. Inhaling, taking the arms up overhead. And we're going to interlace the fingers and then flip the palms up towards the sky and really stretch out through the arms. So framing the ears with the biceps, keep the sit bones grounded, and just very gently start to move side to side. And again, just kind of moving with your breath. Keeping the belly long and strong. And just taking it nice and slow and easy. You should feel some heat starting to build in the shoulders and in the belly space. This is good. We want to build just a little bit of warmth in the body. And let's just take it one more time on both sides. Beautiful. And then coming up to center, let's release the hands, take them forward and down. And just resting the forehead down towards the earth. And then from here, we're going to walk our hands all the way over to the right or the left, either side, because we're going to do both. But again, trying to keep both sit bones rooted down so that you're getting that long stretch through the side body. Let's walk it over to the opposite side. then walking back forward, taking the head down to the earth one more time. And then let's walk the hands back into the body. And we're going to release our legs, bringing them forward, and you can kind of just lean back onto your hands. And then with the feet at hip distance, drop the knees side to side like they're windshield wipers, just left and right, to release any stiffness that's gathered in the joints. And then bringing the heels slightly in, we're gonna come up just for a little bit of reverse tabletop. And before we do that, you can just take a few bends in the elbows, just pointing them right back behind you. This is gonna help prepare the shoulders and the wrists. So just a couple times, moving back and forth, bending the elbows, extending the elbows. And then when you're ready, we're just gonna come up for one breath, root through the feet, inhale, press, lift the hips. You can let the head drop all the way back here if you like. And then exhale, come right on down. From here, we're gonna tuck the legs and roll forward onto hands and knees, tabletop position. And again, just kind of finding a little bit of movement, extending the legs one at a time back behind you. Just kind of pressing into the ball of the foot, into the toes. And this should feel really nice on the calf muscles, especially if you really reach through that back heel. Tabletop position, neutral tabletop position. Let's inhale, drop the belly down, lift the gaze, lift the tailbone, and then exhale, contract, belly button to spine, gaze into the thighs. And just moving like this with your breath, inhaling to release, exhaling to contract. Focusing on moving every single part of your spine from tailbone all the way up through the back of the neck. So we have to remember that the spine lives in the neck. It's not just in the back body. Do this just a couple more times. And then when you're ready, coming back to a neutral tabletop position, we're going to work our shoulders a little bit. So threading the needle, let's take our left hand into center so that we can inhale and open up through the right arm. From here, exhaling, threading arm underneath the body. And we can take our left hand behind the back. Let's stay here just a few breaths longer. Make sure your hips stay level and there's no weight in the neck. Let's gently release, taking back arm back to the floor. Re-extending up through the right arm, just giving it a nice stretch. And then we can take our fingertips to our shoulders and just start to draw some circles with your elbow. And this is going to help release the shoulder, release the trapezius muscle, help release the neck. And then taking hand down and switching sides, opposite arm comes up. And we thread it through. Top arm wraps behind the back. And again, just making sure the hips stay level. No weight on the neck. You want to keep those hips stacked right over the knees. And just enjoy the way that this feels in the shoulders, in the back. And just letting yourself take some nice, deep, slowed breaths. Watching the body unwind. Take our final breath here. And just as we did before, release your back hand, bring it down to the mat, and then re-extend that opposite arm up. Touch shoulder, draw some circles, release the shoulder, the neck. And then bring the hand down. From here, we're gonna take child's pose with our toes tucked. So you're gonna get those toes underneath, really underneath, and then pressing into the hands to move the heels back. And you can adjust your arms a little bit, but you really wanna actively kind of push those hips back and then just let the head rest down. And you should feel the soles of the And to take this just a little bit deeper, what we're going to do now is walk up and sit on the heels with the toes tucked. So if this is really intense, you can take a block in between the legs and take some of that pressure away by sitting on the block. We're gonna stay here for about 10 deep breaths. And this posture is said to connect you into what's called metta. It's M-E-T-A, and this is like pure love and compassion. It's this seat that helps you connect into empathy, into compassion, into love. So just sitting here with whatever emotions arise, whatever intensity comes up in the body, try to breathe through it. Think about any sensation that's arising as an obstacle or a blockage that you want to work through. What is it that's coming up? Can you sit with it? Last couple breaths, you can do it. Beautiful job. When you're ready, come back forward onto hands and knees. And you can give yourself a moment to just kind of curl and point the toes, maybe roll the ankles a little bit. And that's really good also if you suffer from plantar fasciitis or just kind of like stiffness in the feet. And we're gonna come up into a downward facing dog now. So tucking the toes again, lifting up and pressing the hips back. And we're trying to keep this a little bit more on the restorative side. So, just bending the knees, pedaling it out, staying soft in your downward dog. And we're going to find a little bit of movement here in a flow, and this could be considered the peak of our practice, the most movement that we're going to get, so you can really go for it. And what we're going to do is inhale, shift forward to a plank position, and then exhale, take it back to downward dog. And that's it, just shifting forward and back. Notice that my hands don't move. I'm just playing around with where my weight is being placed. So forward, shoulders over wrists, back, downward dog. And if you want to throw a chaturanga in there and an upward dog, feel free. But just again, kind of flowing with your breath. Let's just go a few more rounds. All right, now what we're going to do is find your way into plank position. And then just very gently lower all the way down into the belly. So this is our cobra pose. And just keeping the hands relaxed at the sides, keeping the feet down on the earth. We're just going to inhale and lift the heart, and then exhale, relax it down. Again, inhale, lifting, and exhale, relaxing. And again, inhale, come up. And exhale down. 2 more times, inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale, press and come up. Hold for 1, 2, and 3. Exhale down. Push up and back into a child's pose. Now for this child's pose, if you would like to, you may take a bolster or your blocks, set it forward out in front of you so that you can get a little bit more depth through the chest and through the shoulders in your child's pose. This might ask you or require you to open your knees up a little bit. And just letting yourself rest here. What I'm trying to do is touch my heart down to the floor. And you can start to make your way up. And we're just going to come onto a seat. And you can do any of these postures with or without a bolster. I'm going to do them with a bolster. But we're starting with a restorative forward fold. So Paschimottanasana, you can place the bolster underneath your feet. You can also hug your knees or underneath your knees. You can hug underneath your knees with your arms. But what we're going to do is inhale, take the arms up. And first we're going to take it to the side, so over to the right. And then come up and take it over to the left. And then up through center, find length. And then reaching forward and down over the thighs. You can relax through the head and through the neck. And try to find the deepest breath that you can through the back body. So it's almost like you're imagining, the space where your kidneys are, the sacrum just kind of flowering open with every inhalation that you take. Let's start to make our way back up to seated, slowly coming up. And we're going to take Janu Shirshasana. So we're bringing our foot into our thigh without the bolster. It's this posture. But I'm going to place the bolster underneath my bent leg, and that's just going to allow me to get into the hip a little bit more. So my left leg is bent into my thigh, right leg is forward, deep breath in. And then we're exhaling and folding. And as you fold, you should feel that left hip just Now we're going to inhale, come back up. Take your right leg, bend it back. Finding this shape, so without the bolster, it's just this right here. With the bolster, that front leg is elevated, again, getting deeper into that hip. And then just slowly starting to walk your way forward into however deep of a fold you want to take. So if your hips are quite open, if this feels really good, you can almost do like a modified pigeon. So the same way that you would lie down in pigeon, you can do that here. If you really feel it, if there's a lot of tightness, if there's a lot of stiffness, you can just simply stay seated. Maybe hands come back behind you as you work the heart forward. But wherever you are, just stay connected to your breath, listen to your body. Let's slowly start to come up. And then from here, we're just going to take Janu Shirshasana on the opposite side. So if you're using a bolster, you can just extend that left leg forward and bring the right foot in to the inside edge of the leg. And without the bolster, it's just on the floor. Foot to thigh, we take a deep breath in, reach forward and fold. And when you're using props, you know, it's always okay to just give yourself a moment to adjust and make sure that you feel comfortable. And then getting deeper into the posture. We always want to notice, you know, how the left versus the right differs. What is your right hip doing compared to your left? Let's inhale, come up and move into that second variation. So we're keeping our right leg bent up front and then just taking that left leg back behind us. And same thing as before, just letting yourself walk forward here or staying seated with your hands supporting from behind. Let the breath continue to bring focus. Let's make our way up out of this posture, gently pressing up to seated. And then keeping right leg forward, we're gonna release it back out, take the left leg back out, second Paschimottanasana. Inhale, taking arms up overhead, and then exhaling, reaching, maybe just getting a little bit deeper than you did before. And then let's slowly come back up. And we're going to take Baddha Konasana. So both feet together, knees open out wide. Again, if you're looking for a supported posture here, if the hips are tight, you can take 2 blocks, place one under each knee. And then from here, just starting to gently fold and relax the head down. Again, you can keep your arms back behind you. You can even just kind of grab your feet with your hands and relax down that way. Let's take one more full intentional breath. Just really reaching your in-breath down into the pelvic floor. And then walking back up. You can gently remove your blocks if you're using blocks. We're going to pull the right knee in and up. You can take your foot, cross it over top the thigh. And we're going in for a twist. So inhale, lifting left arm. And exhale, twisting, hugging the right knee in. And you can always bend that bottom leg here if you want to take full, Ardha Matsyendrasana. But leg in or forward, same difference. And making sure that you're sitting up as tall as you can. From tailbone all the way through the neck and the head. Beautiful. Let's gently release the side, gazing forward, letting go of the knee. You can extend the leg forward, maybe give the legs a little shake out. And then switch sides, stepping foot over top thigh. Inhale, lifting opposite. Go ahead, gaze forward and release your twists. You can give your legs a little shake out. And just like we did at the beginning of our practice, we're going to move for one breath into our Chatushpadasana, our reverse tabletop. So bending the knees. And again, maybe just giving a few elbow bends back just to kind of prepare. And then when you're ready, inhale, press and lift. And notice how it feels different this time. Maybe it's a little bit more open. Take a nice big breath in. And then exhale, come down. Let's cross our legs, give ourselves a big hug. And we're going to take it on our backs from here. So lying down, and if you're using props, just make sure they're, near, within reach. But lying down, removing all of your hair clips if you're wearing them, so you don't injure your head. We're gonna start with some breathing bridge pose and then move into a holded bridge pose or a held bridge pose. So like cat and cow, you're just gonna start moving up and down, inhaling to come up, exhaling to come down. And the goal here is the same as it is in cat and cow. And that's finding that fluidity and connection through your movement and your breath. And ultimately what this does is it helps calm our nervous system down. It takes us out of that fight and flight mode and into the rest and digest, the rest and restore. We're going to just move a couple more times and then hold. So if you are using a block or a bolster, you can grab it now. And then inhale, take your hips up. Now notice on your block there are 3 heights. There's the shortest height this way, medium height this way, and then tallest height this way. So you can kind of pick the one that works for you. Right under the sacrum. Get those shoulders tucked underneath the body and just let yourself release and just let go over this block. And if you want to spice things up a little bit, you can play around lifting one leg at a time, maybe rolling the ankle a bit. But of course, it's your practice, it's up to you. You just do what feels right for your body, all with awareness. Woo! Get all the crackles out. Let's spend just 5 more focused breaths here. Really focus on that breath. Beautiful. When you're ready, engage your Setu Bandhasana, press, lift the hips, and then remove the block. Gently roll down. And let's hug the knees into the chest and just very slowly do a little rock side to side, massaging the back against the floor, against your mat. And then again, either using a bolster or a block, or neither if you don't want to. We're going to take a supported Sarvandasana shoulder stand. So I'm going to use the bolster because it's a little more cushy. And then bring the legs directly up. And the bolster is just kind of right underneath the pelvis and the hips. You should feel somewhat weightless here as your legs stretch up to the sky. Again, maybe if it feels good for you, roll the ankles a few times. Flex and point the feet. And then finding stillness in this supported shoulder stand. You can just close your eyes and just observe what's happening in your body. Let's open the legs out wide, so just dropping them out to the sides. You can use your hands here if you like, or you can just let the hands rest. And it's totally fine if the knees need to be bent, especially if you're a little bit tight through the inner thighs, you can bend the knees. And then from here, happy baby pose, bending the knees all the way, reaching for the inside edges of the feet with the hands. And you can do this on your bolster, or if you prefer, you can press the bolster out from underneath you. If the hips are really tight, doing it with the bolster is going to feel a little more accessible because you get that lift. And of course, in our Bala, Kridasan, our happy baby, you can always find some movement. Movement's really good, you know, but stillness is great too. So whatever you want to do. Then let's isolate the hips one at a time. So we're bringing our left foot over top our right thigh. And this is supine pigeon, and then you're just gonna interlace the hands around the shin and start to pull the legs in towards the chest. Supine pigeon. And now, as we sit and breathe in this asana, in this seat, we can start to return back to the sankalpa, or the intention that we set at the beginning of our practice. So just go ahead and remind yourself, what was that sankalpa? What was that intention that you set? Bring it back into your awareness. Now we're going to keep our figure four and take a twist. So you can just relax the hands out and drop the legs over to the right. So I have my left leg on top, right leg is on bottom. I'm dropping them over to the right. And note that my left leg is staying stacked. So I haven't dropped the knee down. I'm keeping it lifted. And what this is going to do is allow me to get into the outside edge of my leg, specifically the IT band. So this is that ligament that just is really tight. It's often the culprit for knee pain, especially if you run or you're on your feet a lot. So this twist right here is really, really good for getting the IT band to slowly soften and open. And if you're not really feeling anything, don't worry, that just means you're lucky and you've got a more flexible IT band. Let's take just a couple more breaths. To deepen this, if you want to go a little bit deeper, all you do is move your legs up and in towards the body a little closer. So just last couple breaths here. Now to come out, you're just going to use your core, pull the legs back up into that supine pigeon. Give that leg one last hug in, and then gently release. Both feet to the mat, windshield wipe side to side. And then switch. Opposite leg, starting with Supta Pigeon. Supta Ekapada Rajakapotasana. Or just supine pigeon. So figure 4, threading, interlacing, and then pulling that leg in towards the chest. Again, just noticing if the side feels any tighter. Even if the sides feel very similar, that's still something that you want to pay attention to. Dropping the legs over to the left. So again, my right leg is on top. I'm going to keep it stacked. Knee over the ankle as much as I can. Getting one more time into that outside edge, the IT band. And just entering this nice twist. Last few deep breaths, and maybe readjust so that you get a little bit deeper into it. Now again, that same way that we came up before, use your core, pull the legs up, take it back into your supine pigeon one more time, giving yourself a nice big squeeze. And then let's extend both legs to the sky, give them a good shake. Just kind of shaking out all the stagnant energy. And then from here, we're going to move into our final posture, which is Supta Baddha Konasana. And you can set yourself up. So we're going to stay here for a couple of minutes. If you want a little fish pose action, little Matsyasana, you can take your bolster behind your back. If the knees are tight, grab your blocks, place them underneath. Ooh, that feels nice. And now my feet are together, and the hands can rest wherever. So they can rest on, kind of like the hip space for a bit more groundedness here. They can rest over the belly, one hand over the heart, or just simply, release at the side. So wherever you want to be, finding your Supta Baddha Konasana. And as we sit here, we want to again make sure that we stay active and aware. So trying not to, fall asleep or drift off. Anytime you feel that happen, come back to your breath. and just count and watch your breathing. Bring your awareness directly to the center of the belly, right underneath the belly button. And imagine that there is a gentle burning flame warming the belly space, bringing golden light to the inside of the body. And with every breath that you take, you're feeding this flame, causing it to grow bigger, warmer, letting the light and the warmth move from the center of your body out through the limbs. So watching this light spread into the chest and into the shoulders, down into the arms, the hands. And you can feel this warmth and this light moving into your palms and into your fingertips. That same warmth and light moves down into your hips, into your legs, your knees, all the way down into the soles of the feet. You can feel that warmth and that light gather right in the center of the feet where they're touching. And then finally, this warmth and light moves up through the neck, through the head, and just starts to spill and pour out of the crown of your head, completely immersing you in warmth and light, covering your body. And no matter what else is going on in the world, here in this moment, you're at peace with santosha, with contentment, present in your practice. At this point, you're free to stay here in your Supta Baddha Konasana, or to take a little bit of movement and find your way into Shavasana, your final rest. And as you make your way into your final posture, wherever that is, Once again, come back to your intent, to that sankalp. And then in this final moment, letting that intention go, releasing your sankalpa, releasing your practice, and allowing yourself to drift off into this shavasana, this corpse pose. Softening the body, finding an effortless breath. So breathing as if you were asleep. And just imagining all of the muscles in your body falling away from the bones, becoming before you drift off too far. I'd like to thank you for your patience and for joining me this evening here. I wish you all a restful evening. Thank you so much, and namaste.